gosh. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Getting to Market. Welcome, everybody, to Get to Market. This is a podcast for when your job is real, but your role is negotiable. Once again, we're here together every Tuesday. My name is John. I'm a product manager, and I've been a product manager for a little while. And I'm here, as always, with my friend Nate. Nate, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Nate on the product marketing side. You know, I was thinking about this, our little tagline. Who are we negotiating the role with in this, like, hypothetical?
It's probably ourselves. We're trying to
Yeah.
prove to ourselves that we're valuable.
How's that?
I mean, am I wrong?
How's that negotiation going?
More and more bumpy. I one time, so product management, maybe you know this, I don't know. Maybe this is just my understanding. Who knows? Either way, what I heard is that product management is really a role that came out of the Scrum discipline, that as teams were trying to scale and build, having a role that would be kind of getting the voice of the customer and bringing that in so that the engineering team can work faster was really about this whole Agile manifesto and Scrum teams. And I
Yeah,
was in a
okay.
conversation earlier today where someone said Scrum is a total BS structure, and its only intent was consultants made it to make more money for other consultants. And I thought, oof, that means my whole job is negotiable.
Well, I mean, we were talking about overhead the other week, right? I mean, I guess, one, they were successful, made a lot of people money. A lot of people have
True.
made quite a bit of money in product management, have they
Yep.
not?
Yep.
Not just consultants.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to them.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that marketing is what you do when you've done like humanities or liberal studies in college and you need a job that pays actual money.
I think you've told me that joke before, and I love everything about it. One time I was griping to my wife about how marketing is not necessary.
Yeah.
Maybe this is similar to our kind of previous conversations in here. And then later, this is when we were dating. Then she told me that was her minor, and I felt real good about myself. So
I
it
do
worked out
love
well.
that. Yeah, that's a good early relationship conversation. Like, what is the role of marketing? How do you feel about the value of marketing? Every couple should talk about that early on. If you get that conversation nailed down,
Oh,
smooth
right.
sailing. The rest, there's nothing that can rock a marriage that's had that conversation.
That's true. Yeah. I thought it was two-person kayaks, but that might be a
Yeah,
better example. If you can get through a two-person kayak trip without murdering each other, it's going to go well for you.
yeah. Is that like how many? I guess we can't get into that. How many bodies are at the bottoms of like riverbeds because they didn't make
Emotional bodies. Emotional bodies.
emotional bodies. Today's episode, John, is about the willingness or maybe unwillingness that folks have, I think a lot of times coming into a role, to ask questions, and maybe the questions, more specifically, the questions they're afraid of asking.
Hmm.
I think we've both been in places, it would be hard not to, where you're coming into something new and you are afraid to ask the questions that would help you do whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it's a job or just like a new thing you're trying to do
Mm-hmm.
better.
Mm-hmm.
But that fear, I think, is a real obstacle to actually asking those questions.
It. I have experienced that fear a lot, and maybe that's what part of where this came up. But so even just like it connects to imposter syndrome almost. But
Yeah.
even taking this role, so where I'm at now, I know data decently. I've been a big fan of data and just what it can do to help a business and grow a business. And so when I got this opportunity to take the role I'm in now, I was really excited about it. And then I got here, and it's a bunch of finance folks, finance nerds, and finance
And
nerds
your
are.
your role now is an assassin for a cartel, right?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
So a lot of finance nerds also have
Yeah.
to cook the books for that
Sure.
organization.
Yeah.
Very similar. But anyway, so a bunch of people that knew terms in finance that I thought I was okay and confident in, and I got this role. And here we have a phrase to talk about our bookings. It's called ABC,
Hmm.
and I, for a good couple of weeks, was like pretending that I knew what I was talking about. And then more and more, just I really was. And then I got so self conscious about it. I just had to ask. And I got to that spot where I was just like afraid of like, oh man, they're going to think I'm such a clown that I don't know what this is. And then I asked my one of my buddies, like someone kind of helped me with onboarding, and And they're like, oh, we just made that up. That's just a dumb phrase we made up for how we talk about our book. Is like, oh, I wish I just asked. And
Yeah.
that's probably been more my experience of every time I've been worried. The right answer has always been to ask sooner, but it's still hard to just get into that habit of asking.
I can't think of a single time where I have ended up asking the question I need to ask and felt shame from the person who I was asking it to, in their response. Like, it's such a silly thing because I have zero evidence that it ever comes back on you that you've asked this question.
Oh,
And
right.
at the same time, like, that thought does pop into your head, like, how much am I exposing myself by asking this question, that I'm just assuming I should know the answer to.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it comes up too in like other areas of life. Like we talked last week about the GMRS radio stuff. Like, I have so many basic elementary questions, but I don't know like that I'm willing to ask all of those questions to any person that like knows their stuff. For whatever reason, I think there's a mental hang up kind of no matter where you are or what the situation is in sort of making yourself look like a fool, even though there's no reason you actually would.
Yeah. Like no evidence that you would have been.
No, no evidence. Yeah. Um, and I think the thing that is difficult to get around if you're new in a role is that, by and large, like if you got hired, the people around you are there to help you.
Oh, right.
Like, they're on your side because they need you to get your job done so they can do a better job at their job. And so there is kind of like, it isn't even um them trying to be altruistic. It's like self-interest. They help you because it also, helps them. Maybe sometimes it is altruistic, but the end result is that it ends up helping them. And so I think there's so much of that is just kind of like psychology that is really just kind of harmful. Because I mean, when have you ever gotten your hand slapped for asking? Now, I've gotten my hand slapped for asking questions that are not rooted in imposter syndrome because they're me maybe challenging some status quo. But I think like when you're just kind of in search of knowledge, I can't remember ever getting my hand slapped for that.
And yet you feel a little worried about that. There are certainly times when I found a landmine and didn't know one was there and that sort of thing.
I think you're poking around where a bear is, though.
I intentionally poke just to see where things
Yeah.
are at and see where boundaries are. Maybe there's a curve of like when imposter syndrome goes away, but when you know, like, hey, I'm afraid to ask this because I'm worried about what someone might say about me or think about me, that is
Yeah.
almost always the imposter syndrome. And maybe over a period of time that goes away. And then you just get to, I'm only asking questions to poke, but I've yet to be, chastised or punished or anything like that for asking questions that like, I just don't know. And I need help.
Now let me invert this. Let me turn this question on its head, which is, do you think imposter syndrome has any kind of upside or benefits?
I haven't thought about that. I don't know. There's a certain element of like humility that
Yeah.
imposter syndrome drives a bit of. Like sometimes I might come across as pretty confident in things I don't know anything about, and I'm self aware of like.
No.
At least I'm thinking about that. And
Name one time.
name one. I can name you 3 episodes of times.
I have a favorite New Yorker cartoon, which is it's this like couple. I guess they're like early on in dating or something. Is the kind of what visual they're going for, and it's a guy who's talking to the woman. He says, "Let me interrupt your confident. Let me interrupt your expertise with my confidence."
Yes.
And I think it gets at this idea of like the Dunning-Kruger thing of like the less you know, the more confident you can be because you just don't know all of that you don't know. I think right now, maybe in that example, like you'd be more receptive to like learning, getting a hot take from someone on product management because
Hmm.
at this point you're pretty comfortable. And at the same time, there's like stuff where you're newer in knowledge in, and you kind of bristle at someone else's take on it.
I was talking to somebody the other day who told me about MCP, Model Context Protocol, which is an aspect of agentic I believe.
Hmm.
That's all that is my level of understanding there. Not super confident in anything. With all the excitement around AI, I feel like I should know more about this. And so wrapping it back around, I do like imposter syndrome and that idea of like it kind of drives that awareness level of what do I not know that I might want to go learn a thing about, be confident to ask more questions because that hasn't turned into a negative thing for me. but also just when I'm finding patterns and stuff I don't know about, then I just got to shut my mouth and go learn about that thing or go find out what I can about that.
I think it's interesting because I think asking questions, one, is self-aware, and also the imposter syndrome thing is self-aware. In today's knowledge economy, I don't know how you actually like deliver on the stuff that you got hired to do if you don't have some like specificity and knowledge that comes with, one, working in that org and how to work in that org, but then also the subject matter expertise or level of expertise that you need to have, both on a like role level, horizontal to what you're trying to do, and then also kind of specific to whatever product or service your organization is selling. Like why do a new role then? I mean, what's the fun? Ask, learn.
If you switched into a role, you did it for a reason. Go do that
Yeah.
thing then, and that's cool.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and then this is not my last job. I don't think. I hope. Who knows where the economy's going, John? Maybe this is all of our last jobs. But the idea that like I get to take what I learn at this role and bring it to the next, and I keep following that pattern, and every time I do that, I'm better at my job because of what I'm bringing from the last role. That to me is like the fun part. Like to grow along with what you're doing is kind of the point for me. I think I think it's the whole like value prop behind asking those questions is it makes you better at what you do. This has been very fluffy. What's the last time you didn't ask a question, or maybe you asked a question but you were thinking about not asking it?
It's not necessarily the last time I didn't ask a question. I think the same can be true for communicating frustration. It's like relationships. It adds in the relational aspect of work where at the end of the day, if you're frustrated with somebody or something and you're not willing to say it, it's on you. And it's not on the person or, whatever that relationship is. You have to be able to talk about it. You have to be able to share.
Mine is there's a form we have to fill out to get a certain piece of content kicked off. And I probably should know where this form is, right? Or where to find it. But I had asked someone on my team, and I was like, is it really bad that I don't know where this thing is? Is it so bad that I should just find it? But I just asked, and he just sent me the link. So I'm sure he thought I was an idiot afterwards, but I got the link I was looking for, so it was worth it.
Yeah, as long as the link doesn't come really fast where like, oh, they have a text expander, because I've had to ask so many times, they got it at the ready. It's already in their clipboard. They can just send it right over. What'd you learn this week?
What I learned this week is so we have a kid who graduated pre-K but is actually going to a different school that also is pre-K. It was very cute. They got like caps and gowns and everything. I learned, the other thing I learned is that my daughter apparently wants to be a dentist, which I had no idea about. She had to say out loud into a microphone what she wanted to be when she grew up, and she was just like, when I grow up I want to be a dentist. And we were like, what?
No, you don't. Get out of there. I think your kid might be a mass murderer. That's also what's happening.
Yeah. How about you?
What did I learn this week is that my iPhone is really old and it might be time for a new one. I bought some accessories to use for an event, and I have a phone that's so old that it's got a lightning port, and you can't buy modern accessories for phones with a lightning port anymore. And you can get adapters, and that's really nice, but also really annoying. So I learned that it might be time for me to buy a new phone. And as much as I don't want to, I might just have to.
I mean, I also have a phone with a lightning port. What does that make me, John? Are we both equally poor?
Both equally interested in the small size of the iPhone 13 mini, which is really what I want. That's what I learned. I learned that I love this phone size, and anything bigger is dumb. And I disagree with the premise that we need larger phones.
I did not know they made an iPhone mini 13. I have a 12, I think a 12 mini for a work phone. And it is like an okay size, but why watch things on your phone, John?
Because I don't want to.
You just all work, no play.
All work, no play. Because, yeah, I do watch things on my phone. I want to be able to put it in my pocket. That's the real end of it. So thank you, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad to get to chat with you, Nate. Good to see you. Come back next week. Anyone subscribe. Get into market when your job is negotiable. Role is negotiable. What's our tagline? When your job is real and your role is negotiable. And your ability to do your job varies day in and day out.
Day in, day out.
Day in,
Bye.
day out. Good to see you, bud. Bye.